Hey everyone. So I've had a lot of people reach out to me and ask me if they could have a copy of my goal index. They say that 3% of people actually set goals for themselves, and then out of those 3%, 1%, only 1% actually write them down. But myself, and I'm sure a lot of other sort of crazy people, actually take the time to not only write out our goals, but put them into some sort of structured format. So in my case, I took of a lot of different goal planning strategies from Tony Robbins and Warren Buffett and Brian Tracy, and basically put them into an Excel spreadsheet that's editable that I can actually work on, because I find a lot of the time when people are talking about goal setting and stuff, it's all well and done, but you need that framework. You need a place to put those ideas that's sort of already done. So what I've come up with is this goal index, and basically what you do is first you list out all your goals, and then you can sequence them so you know which ones you want to do first, which ones you want to do next, and like this year, next year, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years. Because there's an old saying which is that you can do anything you want, but you can't do everything that you want. And prioritizing is definitely a part of it. There's some goals that are just never gonna happen. So you want to be thinking about what do you want to do now, and then it's sort of a mix of like visualization, but also project management, because, and I know that sounds kind of boring, but like there's, at Hitmakers, for example, our slogan is make it real. And if you've ever met me, I've probably asked you at some point, what's your dream? And that's because to me, I love figuring out what people's dreams are and then finding ways to do that. Because most of the time, unless it's some ludicrous goal, most of the time you can just do it. But I find a lot of people, they say they want something, but they're not willing to put in the work. So if someone, like I'm here in Tokyo now, and we've been here for a month, and I hear so many people saying, oh, I'd love to go to Tokyo. I'm like, you should. Like, there's cheap tickets from LA, you just get Aeroplan points for the rest, and like, it's very easy. And they're like, oh, no. And it's like, okay. So I think probably the first thing anyone has to do is they have to actually really want it. But then if they're serious about it, I find that this goal index is a great tool for me anyway, because it allows me to list it. And then there's a couple of key things about this goal index, which are very useful. Like, first of all, I categorize it. So I have either family, or I have personal, or I have work/money. Those are kind of the three categories I use. And that allows me to keep a nice balance of each. I don't want to only do personal development goals, and I don't only want to do work and finance goals. So I like to have sort of a balance. I try to do less than 12, because if each goal takes a month, then I want to fill up that year, but I don't want to have too many things going on at once. And then, so you have the category and you have the name for it, so you know exactly what to call it, because if you give something a name, then you can refer to it and you're like, that's the goal that I'm trying to do. It doesn't have to explain everything, but it just has to be concrete and simple to use. And then you write out the vision for it. Like, what does it look like when it's done? And then you write out, okay, how am I going to do this? And then you start to write out, okay, what are the specific tasks that I'm going to have to do? And then you map it out on a year timeline. So you say, okay, it's 2023, I'm going to do this between April and July. Okay, and then that means I can't do this next goal until September, October. So you can literally map it out like that. And then you can schedule for yourself to go in and just check each month, okay, am I on track to reaching these goals? That visualization part, I think, is the most important, because you want to visualize yourself having already achieved the goal, and realizing, sort of embodying the feeling you're going to feel once it's complete. And this is something you tap into your subconscious brain, because when you do that, your brain is like, oh, okay, that's what I'm expecting, so that's what I'm going to look for, and I'm going to look for paths to get to that. And then you can be as specific as you like, but I like to have a start date and an end date, and then I like to map it out on this sort of overview, this map of my year and when I'm going to do which project, when I'm going to reach each goal. And then you schedule it. You make it concrete, you make it real. So, for example, booking this month in Japan, it wasn't a dream, you know. It's like, no, it's a project. It's something I'm going to make it real. And it took me many weeks of research to find tickets, you know, because there's 5 of us, so there's a lot of tickets, and it's very expensive. By the way, I'm not by any means like rich yet, but I'm wearing a suit because I feel like you shouldn't take goal setting advice from anyone who doesn't have a nice suit. And it's so weird because I'm wearing it as a choice, not as a, I don't have to wear a suit. It's more of a costume, or just I like it because it makes me feel good. I'm a music producer. Why do I need a suit? So yeah, having that map of when you're going to reach your goals, and things always change. You know, there's always challenges. And in the goal index, you account for that. You say, okay, what are the challenges that I'm going to face, and what are my resources? Who can I ask for help? Who do I need to help support me? You know, whether that's a partner or whether that's colleagues. Who's going to help you reach your goals? Yeah, and I mean, it's not a perfect science, it's an art. But I feel like having it organized somewhere outside of my brain really helps. And it keeps me on track. And it kind of takes some of the magic out of it, I have to say, because, you know, once you reach a goal, it's like, oh, I reached my goal. And then it's like, well, it's just kind of a checklist thing now. But, you know, if I'm setting the right goals, then it has elevated my life to a specific degree. And it's just like in Photoshop or music production or anything. If you make 1,000 tiny changes, each change is almost imperceptible by itself. But once you take the aggregate of those 1,000 changes, it's a totally different picture. So yeah, please download the goal index and fill it out. Use it as freely as you can, and set some nice goals. You know, make the world better. Chase your dream. Do it. You can do it. Just do it.